Shit They Don't Tell You About Having a Baby, episode number 2. Welcome to another season of the Keep It 100 Girl podcast and this week's Keep It 100 Girl moment. You know, today Nina's going to teach you how to level up your girl game. This year, you will not only be making a statement, but living your life out loud and writing your life into existence. On season 2 of the Keep It 100 Girl podcast means new beginnings of dropping girl gems. And you know what? An attitude on nana. This is the Keep It 100 girl-friendly guide to becoming what you're destined to be as a woman. All right, girlies, I love happy stories as well as happy endings. Aww. And I have one to share with you today on today's episode. So let me set the scene. Back in episode 19, go check it out because every girl in their 20s and 30s needs to hear it. I did an episode on the biological clock where I rang your alarm. And women came forward to reveal their own personal struggles and challenges associated with getting pregnant, whether it's in their 20s or even their late 30s. Today's Keep It 100 Girl moment is the perfect sequel. The theme being, no one ever told me that.
There's amazing. So many different parts of the pain they don't tell you about. Everybody just talks about the epidural pain and the delivery pain.
I mean, how often have you heard that? And how often does that get revealed through the girl convos that you have? The girl chat focus of this episode is directed to all women out there who's trying to get pregnant, who's close to their delivery date, and lastly, to all you women out there who've already had a baby, but neglect to pass on the deets to the rest of us and set us straight.
Are you getting a contraction?
Oh, I'm feeling a contraction. Yeah.
What makes today's story unique is Roxanne had fibroid for most of her pregnancy, so there's some additional nuggets associated with her story. Is it possible to run out of an epidural? How long does it even last? Roxanne describes her experience here.
When it was time to push, I'm but why don't they say, like, even if you take the epidural, what happened to the part at labor and the actual baby coming out part?
So wait, I'm not following. So when you take the epidural, like, how long does it last?
That's what I want to know.
Like the whole...
So when we took the epidural, it was like, what, 4 a.m.? 4 a.m. It kicks in about, like, 15 minutes or something. So you realize you go numb.
Did you see the needle for that epidural?
I told him, don't show me a darn thing, and I started singing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Did you see the needle?
No, they kicked us all out the room.
They kicked everybody out the room.
How did it feel, though?
They make a mistake.
I felt like
they
buttons.
But if they do, there's been cases where it has happened. So they can't have no witnesses.
Oh.
There was one witness, the other nurse.
Yeah, but
that's it, yeah.
Why weren't we allowed in the room during the epidural, of all things?
Because it's a sterile process or whatever, or something like that.
But delivering a baby's been sterile?
I know, right?
Exposed to the outside, and I'm there in my jeans and my t-shirt.
Can you give
We're
me a
wearing the same
cover?
clothes since I landed off the plane. We're in the same clothes.
The needle. We all wonder about that ugly looking needle, especially if you don't like needles. But I asked the then expectant mother, what did the epidural feel like at that moment when they told you, do you want it?
I felt like they were putting a bunch of buttons in my back. And then I felt like the cold, and then I felt like them pushing. But I don't know at what point which one was the needle.
Oh.
But I felt like psh, 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 like these buttons going in.
Okay.
So the anesthesiologist says, this is the first time I've ever been serenaded to during an epidural.
Because I was said to him,
singing.
I have to be distracted.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you mind if I sing? And he's like, no. So I started singing The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, born
Raised on the playground with where I spent most of my day. So like, how's it long? It's going to take about a minute. I'm like, yep, that's the song. Because, so when I used to train, right? When I was training, I used to sing that song because it'd take me about a minute to sing the songs, a little bit less or a little bit more depending on how fast I went. So if I was doing a plank and I needed to keep distracted to hold my whole plank, I would sing the song. So I said, I need to be distracted while you do this because I'm going to keep thinking about this needle.
Yeah.
So he's, sure. So he's like, the first time with 16 years or something?
No, 25 years, he said, or something. It was long.
He's a very young looking guy.
Yeah, maybe 19 years.
Did he even know Fresh Prince who he was?
Yes.
Oh, he did.
Young black guy. He looked young, black guy.
Oh.
He looked young. I don't know. So I'm assuming that he watched Fresh
He knew
Prince
it.
of LA.
Yeah, he knew it. No, he knew it.
So I sang
Because he
that.
said you were singing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
Okay. Funny.
And they're like, oh, you kind of messed up the verse. So I was trying to get the verse and re-sing it and stuff like that. So I was like, good, keep me busy.
Yeah.
So in about 20 minutes, my legs went numb. Like kind of coldish. You know, that numb feeling. You don't feel it.
So Roxanne describes her experience by this, and maybe it's written somewhere, but according to her, there's different phases of pain before and after giving birth.
And then it was just in me. So I didn't need to press it. We went 4 o'clock in the morning now, all the way to the next day. I didn't even need to press it until like somewhere around when the contractions started happening again aggressively after 3 o'clock. Now that's when I was,
No, you pressed it before that. You must have pressed it.
I didn't. The nurse pressed it.
Oh, yeah, by accident.
The nurse pressed it by accident because I asked a question and she said, oh, you just press it. I'm like, I didn't need it.
So what's this button thing? That's what I'm confused
It's just
about.
this like a trigger.
A personal assistant.
Like a personal assist button.
Okay.
So that I didn't need a press, and she had pressed it. The nurse pressed it earlier, but I was fine.
This
And then-
is a newborn. And
Yeah.
the mitts.
Oh, look how tiny.
Mitts for his hand.
That's the one I'm not using because it goes over the belly button. So I could put that next week. So then when we went into the delivery phase, that's when I needed it again. Like I told you the fibroid's cramping, I'm cramping. So I pressed it. But I didn't think it was helping, but it wasn't helping with the fibroid. Everything else was numb. I didn't really feel like similar pain. But then there's that other pain.
The fibroid pain.
No, outside of the fibroid. So I have the fibroid pain. But then there's that pain now when she's saying how the monitor was showing 200, when I was having those long contractions and it was like time to push. And I was like, I have to poo. I know I have to poo. That's when I was like, is this thing even working?
Oh. So, do you think the dosage wasn't enough?
I don't know. I guess they do top it off at some. They do probably top it up maybe at some
They kept
point.
coming and checking, so I don't know.
But they checked. Yeah, a lady, an anesthesiologist. She said she's part of the team. Checked it all day long. She just kept coming every couple hours and just checking.
Is this the right one?
Yeah. But so there's the other pain. That's what the other pain. So there's the different phases of delivery. There's the passive, active, and transition. And the transition is when the baby actually comes out of you. That transition
are those the
pain.
formal names or your names?
Those are formal names.
Okay.
Yeah. So that transition when they say, okay, you have a contraction coming, and now she told me, put my head to my chin and push and breathe. Like I think I breathe in, take one deep breath, and then push, hold my breath for the 10 seconds and push hard. That's pushing that baby out. Where the heck was the epidural on that pain?
Really?
That's the part. Like, where's the epidural for that pain?
So she goes on to describe the first, second, and third types of pain, starting with long contractions and even having to poo.
Where were you feeling it?
All
when
like
you say
they're
pain.
just telling you to push, so you're like you feel something like you have to poo, but you don't have to poo, but it's there. That's where you feel it. Like I guess,
But is it
the
like-
muscles related to that area? Yeah, I don't know.
So the pain isn't so much like this is hurting. It's those muscles that you use to push. Is that the pain?
No, like it was like the first pain is like period pain, so your whole like across
yeah.
your abdomen all hurts.
Wow. When you say
But then-
period pain, is that like for real? Like,
It felt like I had a giant period cramp, but up to another level.
oh, okay.
Like another level of period cramp, yeah.
Huh.
Because I get cramps, but I've never gotten cramps like that bad to put me out. Like, that was like, what the hell? I couldn't even deal with that.
Huh.
So I feel sorry for any girl who has really bad period cramps and then has a baby. Because if the cramps are relative, like if labor pain is relative to the period cramp you get, you're in trouble.
Wow.
I don't know. And then there's the after pain. So now after you deliver the baby and everything, holy smokes, like my whole back, wait, hang on, I missed one pain. I felt like I pulled a muscle in my stomach. So, you know, when you're delivering the baby or when you get pregnant, right, you don't really have, you have abdominal muscles, but they're all stretched out, so you don't really have strong abdominal muscles. I'm laying there on the table, like, I think I pulled a muscle in my stomach. I know I pulled a muscle in my stomach. I felt like I couldn't breathe on one side of my stomach. I just felt like, oh my God. And so now the next day, I'm sitting there in the bedroom, my whole back, like I couldn't even like walk properly. I felt like an old person, like I just hunched over because all my back, all the muscles here, I guess you really put them to work to deliver the baby. Yeah. All the missing pains they don't tell you. And all the moms say, forget about all these pains. How you forget about the pains? You have to tell me about the pains too.
Right.
And then the pain about, when you breastfeed, you have a contraction. Thanks for telling me that pain too.
She describes breastfeeding and the whole interaction with the fibroid. As she was breastfeeding, her fibroid would also contract, and I saw this with my own eyes. It even like raises up through her skin and protrudes out from her belly. Yes.
Because why does nobody tell you it hurts to breastfeed? They say it hurts to breastfeed. They didn't say your stomach will hurt too when you breastfeed.
Because your uterus
is contracting, and that's making it shrink back and stuff. Again, the pains they never tell you about. See that?
Yeah, that's
There's
amazing.
so many different parts of the pain they don't tell you about. Everybody just talks about the epidural pain and the delivery pain, but there's a whole bunch of others.
And if you're a woman out there not familiar with the term bloody show, because I certainly wasn't, and neither was her twin sister, here it goes. You're going to get a little miseducation and education.
I didn't know until she said it. I was like, what? Is that like the plug? Is that the equivalent to the plug from your water breaking?
We have to Google it.
That must be a new name for it.
I thought the bloody show was after the baby comes out.
Oh.
And I was like, that must be the bloody show because
Right.
that's fucking bloody show.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Right.
show.
We had...
No, that's not the bloody show. Like,
I lost my mucus
never
plug
heard.
at home.
Okay.
I was at home. It was the same day I threw up the night before they went to labor. I was sitting there. I would use the toilet, and then I wiped, and it was like gunk, like a lot of gunk. Oh, they said that's the mucus plug. Bloody show, you'll notice a thick or pinkish blood streak discharge called a bloody show. Mucus plug that sealed your cervix during pregnancy.
Yeah.
Well, I started to lose my mucus plug then. Let's just say I started to lose some of it before delivery. Because I wiped and there was chunk, it wasn't like discharge. It was like jello. Uh-oh. First of all, you smell. Stubborn child. Throwing some sparks. Nope.
still no? The diaper looks wet. EP?
I can't really tell, but she'll change it in a bit. So I had that mucus plug on, but that's when I was on the table and I was saying how when I was in the delivery room and I was like, something's coming out of me. Something came out of me. I know something came out of me. That's the mucus plug, I guess, but they call it the bloody show. Yeah, but that's what all those other women who've had kids don't tell us. They don't tell you this. How come no one told me about a bloody show? I never heard this word, and I mentioned to a friend that had a baby. She goes, "Oh yeah, the bloody show." I'm like, do you know this thing?
Breather Spaces has great views and all the amenities you need to focus and get productive. If you are a female or even male entrepreneur out there looking to find a beautiful, practical space you can reserve on the go, Breather is a great option. Let me tell you, if you don't want to invest the time in office space, maybe you work from home and you have a meeting with a client, potential client, I use Breather to find a location. And even if you're traveling to a metropolitan city like New York, San Fran, DC, Toronto, Montreal, London, California, Boston, and even Chicago and need a workspace for a few hours, you can go ahead and try it. And even better, I'm going to give you my own promo code. QF as in Frank, K as in Kit Kat, J as in Joe, Z as in Zebra, and A as in Alpha. You're going to get a great discount. In fact, Nina can't keep a secret. You are going to get at least 80% off the first hour. So go check out Breather's mobile app on your phone. So the whole delivery of the placenta, Roxanne describes, is the transition phase. Remember we talked about there's 3 different phases. So now we're at transition phase. And again, she's going to give her spin on it because she had that fibroid. Roxanne also talks about post-delivery and the whole breastfeeding thing.
Well, they had the delivery of the placenta, right? I told you that one. But that didn't hurt me. But she said it could hurt, but I didn't feel the delivery of the placenta.
Was it, did you have any expectation based on what your friends described? Or
Nobody told me about any of the stuff that I'm telling you about. I mean, they told me some stuff, but they didn't give me that much information. They just, it just hurts when you have to deliver the baby, get the epidural, blah, blah, blah. But nobody said, and the part of, even if you have the epidural, there's a whole different level of pain that comes with the transition phase, with the pushing. When she put the oxygen mask, and I was like, oh, nobody told me that. And I don't know anybody who had a fibroid, so I don't know if anybody felt the same contraction against their fibroid as well as how I felt it.
Right.
And then nobody told me about, after you're breastfeeding. They say breastfeeding can hurt because you get dry, chapped nipples, blah, blah, blah. I haven't experienced that, so that's good. But nobody said you get a contraction when you're breastfeeding. So it's funny because what happened was the night I went to my room, I felt some cramps and they were going down my waist and down the back of my leg. And I felt those cramps. I took some painkillers. The next morning I felt cramps again. I took painkillers. And then later that day, I think I was starting to feel cramps again. And then the nurse said, I said to the nurse, I said, I'm feeling the cramps again. It just comes in the morning. So when I start, after I'm feeding him and stuff, it's like, but I don't want, is it going to bother him if I keep taking these painkillers when I'm feeding him? And she said, you're probably feeling the contractions from when you're breastfeeding. And I was like, what are you talking about? And that's when I found out you have cramps when you breastfeed. It's normal. Because I was going to take more painkillers. I was taking them for the wrong reason. I was feeling the cramps, but I thought that the cramps was related to something else. Pain from after delivery. It wasn't. It was related to me breastfeeding him. And literally now I can tell when I breastfeed him, I can see, my stomach is contracting and I can feel it. And it's like, that's once he's done breastfeeding, give it a take a few minutes, it stops. Nobody ever told me that. All these women breastfeed. Not that breastfeeding is not good, it's good, right? But nobody says this also happens.
Yeah.
I know that the body, the uterus has to contract. I know it has to go back to its original size. I just didn't know all the pain that is associated with that. But they don't tell you.
So do you know how long that process is? that it takes?
No.
for it to...
How about I let you know in a while?
Yeah.
So we talk about our Caribbean grandmothers and just some of the myths about birth control and managing, birth control, so-called their natural ways. You're going to get a kick out of this one.
I don't know how they could keep doing it.
Well, clearly.
I know the pain goes away. Like, I guess you forget the pain because people keep doing it over and over. Nowadays, people have like 3 kids still. And they forget that they went through all that pain. But by the time you hit 12, 10,
Well, my grandfather did not believe in birth control. Like, literally, he didn't want her to take it.
oh my God.
So, and she didn't. So I was like, that wouldn't be me.
My grandmother told me a story that they used to drink castor oil. So I know they did castor oil to bring on labor. But my grandmother told me a story that when she was young, they used to drink castor oil after, if they had like sex. At that night, they would drink castor oil because they thought if they drank it the next day, it would flush everything out their system.
No way.
Because, castor oil will bring on some serious diarrhea, could bring on serious diarrhea and stuff. So they thought, I'm going to drink castor oil the next day, flush everything out of my system, and I won't get pregnant.
That's a different...
I was like, what kind of birth control is that?
Right. N.A.
That's what she said. I was like, okay.
Funny.
Do you remember that story, Renee?
Yeah.
Yeah. She told us
funny.
that. I was like, whoa. Well, clearly it didn't work because I don't know if you were trying to prevent yourself from having that many kids.
Thanks for listening, and if you're expecting a baby or about to give birth, I hope you enjoyed this Keep It 100 moment from a woman who really kept the realities of giving birth real and true. So if you like this episode and any of my other ones, kindly leave me, that's Nina, a 5-star rating review in iTunes. I really rely on this wholeheartedly because it helps me stand out from the crowd, and it helps women and even men understand ourselves and themselves better. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, share it with your peeps and send me out a shout out on social. You can find me using the handle at Nina Babel, that's BABEL, on Twitter, IG, Snapchat, or you can even join the Keep It 100 Girl Facebook page. Make sure you subscribe to the Keep It 100 Girl show on iTunes by clicking that purple icon button on your iPhone. Or if you have an Android, look for the Stitcher icon on your Android and mash it up with a 5-star rating and review. Tune in weekly so you'll never, ever, ever miss one of my episodes. Because you remember, Nina keeps it 100. I keep it real, and Nina keeps it true. Smooches! Enjoy your week.